Oh, and they said the food's delivered. Oh, the guy didn't ring the bell.
Okay, let's mute all.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
So let's start. Looks like it is now, oh, it's 3 minutes after 12. And it looks like we have a nice large group of people. My name is Nancy Marks Erickson. I am here with some incredible women with IBM who are here today helping us and going to be monitoring the chat and supporting us so we can all be here. So welcome to part 2 of our Women with IBM's Women with IBM's Affinity Group program, Living with IBM, a full-time job. So today's program, as you see, is how we can tell our stories and make our voices heard. We all know that living with a rare disease is difficult, and for those of us, a majority of us living with disability is difficult, especially when it's an invisible disability. So here we go. And for those of you who don't know us, the Women with IBM's mission is to improve the lives of women affected by inclusion body myositis, IBM, through virtual connections that transcend geography. Um, our affinity group, which is now 5 years old, and thank you all for doing this. Our goals are to build and create a sense of community amongst women with IBM. And as you're seeing today, network and collaborate, share ideas to thrive with IBM, obtain information from professionals in the field, and find joy and hope amongst our journey. So how do we do this? We create a safe and welcoming environment with privacy for sharing and vulnerability without fear of judgment, and valuing the experiences of one another. So before we get going, where we want to go is TMA, and with this, does not give any medical advice. Our webinars are informational, and we encourage you to make the decisions about your care with your healthcare team. We are very grateful for our expert speakers from all over the world, as those of you who were on last month heard Ingrid. And we asked each speaker to disclose any potential conflicts at the start of their presentation. As you know, the webinar is being recorded and will be available on TMA's YouTube website at the first of the month. So please put any questions in the chat box. pre-submitted, we received a few pre-submitted questions, and they are being loaded or have been forwarded to the speaker a few days ago. So any questions that may have been missed, please put in the chat. Today's agenda, as you see, we're going over our mission, we're going over our details. We're going to have a TMA communication overview. We're honored that we're going to have Linda Colbert, who is the Research and Communications Specialist for TMA, talk a little bit about TMA's communication. And then we're going to go on to our presentation, Living with IBM, a full-time job, how we can tell our stories and make our voices heard, with Beth Howler, going on to our summary, looking ahead. So with that, I am honored. It's great to have Linda Colbert with us today. Linda, do you want to take control? I know you're here.
Sure, yes,
Probably-
I'm happy to step in.
Thank you.
So maybe I should do my own slides. Can I share my own slides?
Absolutely. Just all you have to do, this is all also on in our thing. You can do it, or they're in here. You can tell me when to go. Either or. You want me to get off the screen? You want to go to yours? Okay, you have it.
Great.
Well,
So yes, I am TMA's Research and Communications Director, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. And excited to be able to talk about our what we have to offer in terms of communication opportunities. And I'm especially happy because once Beth talks to you about how you can share your stories, you can work with me to pass those along and publicize them to the myositis community. So I'm happy to make that happen. So TMA has several ways that we communicate with the public and with the myositis community. This is our list of them. And I know you can't click on these links now, but I can post them in the chat after I'm done talking, and you can find all of these instruments on our website. So,
and Linda, let's go. You have to go to the next slide. Your first slide's still showing.
oh, okay, so
Just go to the next.
Can you see that now?
We see your first slide.
Okay.
Can you go into presentation mode? It'll be easier.
I thought I was in presentation mode.
No, no.
So can you see this?
We see, you know what? Here we go. Now we're there. And we just need you to
Okay,
go into
great.
presentation mode on the bottom.
Linda, if we're not getting these publications, how do we sign up?
That's an excellent question. So but I'm surprised if you aren't getting them, because all of you are on our mailing list, I assume, which means that all of these things are sent to you every month, usually on the first of the month in our monthly newsletter. The Outlook magazine is also sent. So we only do the Outlook magazine digitally. We do the digital version every quarter. We only do one print issue a year. So if you're not getting the print issue, you can email tma@myositis.org. They can put you on the magazine, the print magazine newsletter, mailing list. But all of these other ones you should be getting on a regular basis, at least in the mailing email.
And can
monthly.
you send these slides out with the clickable links just in
I
case?
sure can.
Thank
I
you.
absolutely can, yeah. So yeah, and as I said, these are all on our website. And our social media, you can sign up to be to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn, and YouTube. So and these resources are all available to everyone.
And they're all, most of them, except that one print edition, is via email.
Even if it's a print issue, we'll send it by email.
Okay, thank you.
And it's also downloadable from this page on our website. So this is the Outlook. This is the most recent Outlook. We publish it quarterly. It has news, research news, and opportunities to participate in research. Member stories, which is one of the things that I'm hoping you all will feel like you want to share. Hints and hacks. Everyone has their own way of getting around their disease and their limitations, and we like to share those with everybody else. And just other interesting things, like for example, this fall issue had TMA's origin story and some history in it.
So, Linda, as you're going through, can you tell a little bit about the audience that these communications are? It's all the same, but what the goal is in the difference between the app for those people that don't really understand the difference in the goal from Outlook to the monthly newsletter to Facebook to Instagram, etc.
That's a good question. So the Outlook magazine is this is a publication that's been created since the organization was started 31 years ago, and the issue, the image on the cover is the cover of that first issue. So it was a photograph, it was a mimeographed, photocopied thing that was sent to 15 or 30 people. And the idea is to just sort of share all these ideas, the news, the research, and some hints and hacks and things. As opposed to the newsletter, which goes out monthly and has a more timely sense about it. So in the newsletter, we have it, and the audience is people with myositis for the most part. We also like to share these things with researchers, with clinicians, anyone in the myositis community, with pharmaceutical companies who are doing research in myositis. So all of those people are part of our audience. The newsletter, though, is something that is more timely, as I said, has headline news from current and recent past, calls to action, especially like during Rare Disease Month in February, where we want to do some advocating with legislators. We also list all of our upcoming events and webinars and any kind of opportunity that's available to the community. So anything you have to sign up for, we have announcements and links there. Research news, clinical trial opportunities, even things like recently we had a survey that one of our researchers is doing, that you can click on that and take the survey and talk about, I think it was about pain. We also have some regular features in the newsletter that are a little different from what is in the Outlook magazine. Community tips, minding your mental health, we call it, which is, again, tips for managing mental health challenges. We have a list of all of the new blog posts from the previous month, and a spotlight on giving. So opportunities and news about giving opportunities or giving philanthropy for TMA. The blog is a little different. This is a place where we are able to share some stories, patient stories, interesting news that might not be, like the Nobel Prize for autoimmunity research was relevant to the myositis community, but not necessarily directly related to myositis. So we have stories from patients and care partners, and sometimes researchers and other members of the community that we post on our website and then make those available more widely. Okay. And then we have social media. And if you're signed up on, if you're like following us on any of our social media, you can see posts that are related to, and so the audience for social media is obviously wider than our mailing list, right? So this is for the world and sort of gets us out into the world and hopefully brings people to the Myositis Association who might not know that we're there, but who need support and community with us. And if you know anything about social media, it's individual posts that talk about individual ideas. So again, this is the announcing the Nobel Prize winners. We also have calls to action and upcoming events, webinars, research news, and each of them are individual sort of bites of news or information.
So Linda, let me, if you don't mind, just going back to maybe being primer number 1, 2, or 3 with social media. How many different areas or platforms of social media does TMA use? What should we look for in our emails? What kind of social media things shall we look for from TMA? Oh, okay.
So here are all of our social media places where you can find us. And all of these places are things where you can follow us and get access what we produce there. Does that answer what you're asking?
I was
Okay.
just
So,
asking for
Linda, I'm sorry to interrupt. We are
Sure.
getting some comments in the chat, women who've said they have not received these publications.
Mhm.
If they want to receive them, should they go to these links and sign up? Or should they communicate with you perhaps by email and say, please sign me up?
So if you, you have, in order to get our social media posts, you have to sign up on Facebook and Instagram and X. You have to have your own account there, and then you can follow the Myositis Association.
What about the Myo News, the Outlook, and the blog? Those are the ones that are not
If you're
receiving.
not getting those, then you must not be on our mailing list. And so you would need to go to our website and let me see if I can make that happen. If you go to our website.
Linda, Rachel here. I included the Join TMA link in the chat. So that's the
Oh,
first thing.
good.
Make sure that you're
Okay.
actually a member.
So the link is there,
Thank
but
you.
if you go to our website, it's
Thank you.
always here at the very top
Yeah.
of our website.
Thank
And
you.
if
Okay.
you are a member but you aren't getting it, you might have unintentionally unsubscribed, and you can write me at rachel@myositis.org, and I'll check and make sure that you're subscribed.
Okay, Rachel, let's just keep going. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Rachel.
Okay, so here's my list of how you can help. You can write for any of these publications, and some of the ideas that you might, these are just off the top of my head. A story of your myositis journey, that's a very popular thing to write. Your Myocon, if you've been to Myocon and you want to write about that experience, we've had a couple stories about that. Anything that sort of brings humor into your journey is also humor, uplifting, perseverance, hope. Any of those things are very good stories. If you've been in a clinical trial, and we had a themed issue of the Outlook with clinical trials, and Martha wrote her story about her experience with a clinical trial. And anything else that you think somebody who is living with myositis might find interesting. So those are all things that that you can write. You can also follow, share on our social media content. You can tag if you do posts about your journey, like Rhonda does. We would love it if you would tag TMA, and by that we mean actually, if you go to our Myositis Awareness Toolkit, which is also linked here, you can see how you can learn how to do that. That's part of the that toolkit. And using hashtags also brings awareness and visibility to myositis stories on social media. And if you have ideas or would like some my guidelines on writing for or our publications, please send me an email. My email is linda@myositis.org, and I'd be happy to work with you. And now, are there any questions that, oh, I know. Somebody had a question about sharing stories with people that are directly related to people who are doing research to find new treatments for
IBM
IBM.
myositis. Yeah.
Right. And so TMA works with pharmaceutical companies and directly with researchers across the world. And they often have, especially pharmacy companies will have, if they're developing a product, they often have patient panels or other ways to speak directly to patients And we can hook you up with those if you, and to be part of that, you can either email me or Paula. Paula is paula@myositis.org. And we can help you connect. We are presented with opportunities in that way from the companies. And if we have a list of people who are interested in doing that, and I don't know, Rachel, maybe you have that as part of your assessment of volunteers. So email any of us and we can help you hook you up when we have those opportunities. And you know, another way to do that is if you come to Myocon, which will be in St. Louis in next September, pharmacy companies are already there and love to talk to patients. Sometimes they also have their patient panel sessions during that time. So you can be part of that process there too. Are there other questions?
Linda, I'm just going to also say, for those of you who want to communicate amongst this group and the Women with IBM group, please contact us. We're here for you too, and that's one of the things when well, yeah, Beth should be here in just a minute or two, but that's one of the things that we talked about. So yeah, we're great. Thank you. We're good. Do you have any other comments, or is there something you want us to do for you? Linda, are there certain types of stories other than our own stories about life, stories about what we're doing, stories about research? What are you? And we're gonna also mute everyone in the background again, please.
So there are times when specific questions come up. For example, when we did the clinical trials special issue for the Outlook, I especially wanted Martha to be part of that and to tell her story, and I reached out to her directly. So if you're interested in being part of a group of people who we can call on at times when we need special suggestions or have questions that you might be able to respond to, you can email any of us. And we can, and I think actually Rachel, maybe you can let us know. You do have a list of those kinds of people.
I think Rachel.
Yes, I do. Whenever someone signs up to be a volunteer, if they choose to share their story, I have that list. There's like 12 or 15 things you can do. Some are more than others as far as time investment goes. But yes, I do have that list.
And Rachel, I'm going to ask you another quick question for those of us. Can you send or put in the chat box the link so that if someone is not signed up as a volunteer, you can sign them up as a volunteer and they can help.
Absolutely. I'm going to put that link in there. And I'm also going to put the link that is just submitting your story if that's all you want to do. Okay, thanks. That's a great question, Nancy. I'll put that in there.
So I'm good with that. Okay. And Rachel, I see you're on. And I also, as we're waiting, Beth had said she'd be on. I haven't seen her yet. But I'd like to see if we have a second. Paula, can I call you out and introduce you, please? I think I saw Paula on here. And for those of you who don't know her, Paula is our executive director who is absolutely taking us to new heights and new places with TMA.
Hi,
But
Nancy. Hi, Women with IBM. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
yes. So I just wanted to say thank you for being here and see if you could just if you had any comments or introduce yourself again, because we have not had the opportunity to have you on board very often, and we're thrilled and honored with all the things that you're doing for us to be able to have you here today. So I just didn't know if you had any other comments for the women that are on.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Women with IBM. My audio connection is really bad, but I could hear that you were
Okay.
saying my name, so I'm saying hello. Nice to be with you again. So nice to see so many of you in Dallas at the fabulous celebration marking 5 years of your tenacity as IBM warriors who are also women. And I think I was on a program this spring. I always really enjoy being with you when I can. You lift my spirits and just encourage the entire team in our work so much. So thanks for everything that you do.
You,
Great to see Mariel Parker from TMA's board is also on the line today, I see. So great to be with you, Nancy and Laura. Sharon McCall, I hope you got your package. Is Sharon here, Nancy?
yes, Sharon's here. Sharon's
Hi.
here, and a huge team in the background
I'm
helping all of
here.
us today.
Hi, Sharon. Did you receive your package from
I
MyoCon with the flat Sharon that Laura and
I
Sharon
did.
made?
It was amazing. I did send
Good.
you a thank you, but it was just today that I
Ah,
actually sent it out. But thank you so much. It really lifted my spirits.
oh,
So
I'm so
happy to
happy that
be
you
there.
received it.
Thank
Congratulations
you.
again to all of you on your first 5 years. I was only here for the last year and a half of the first five, Nancy, but I'm excited to see where the group goes over the second 5 years.
Well, thank you. We're honored to be here. And Muriel, it's great to have you on. And you and I need to have a sidebar one of these days soon, because we're, I think, missing each other in the night. We'll have to communicate a little bit more. So, Paula, thank you. And with that, I see Beth is on. Beth Howard, would you like to unmute yourself and say hello?
Whoa.
And we cannot hear you very well.
Let me move my.
Here you are.
Move closer to the mic. Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you, and I have made you you are now a co-host.
Okay.
So with that, I'm going to go back and share my screen one more time, ladies. And we're going to introduce Beth Howard. We thank you, Sharon Clossie, for introducing us to your cousin Beth. So we were honored, some of you were here, that were in Dallas at the meeting, met Beth. Beth is our professional speaker today, Beth Howard, Ph.D. Beth is the co-director of the Global Alliance for Disability in Media and Entertainment. There were three people who co-founded this organization in 2016. It's now a registered nonprofit uh, group in Fort Worth, Texas. and this is the website. A little bit about Beth is she, as you all know, she was a university professor. Beth developed some of the first disability and media courses in North America at Towson University in Maryland. She was a full-time professor in the mass communications department there from 1996 through 2020. She also at City University of New York, CUNY's disability studies, got her master's and undergraduate programs led at New York University's Critical Disability Studies graduate program in Toronto, and at the University of Texas, Arlington for its minor in disability studies. Beth is our best advocate that I have spoken with for media and disabilities. And as we live with disabilities and need to have our voices out there in this ever-changing world, as you heard, there's so many places, as you heard Linda say, just to give us a little bit of an idea of what TMA is doing. Beth is here to tell us how we can help make our voice strong and our voices heard and communicate better. So with that, Beth, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you share your screen. Okay? So it's all yours. Wow.
Let me see if I can get it into slideshow mode. There we go. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. Like I
A
said,
little louder if you
talk
can,
louder.
please. Sorry.
I have the volume all the way up, but I don't know what's going on. Sometimes people have this with my laptop. Okay, just tell me if you can't hear me. So here's what Nancy and I named my presentation, telling your IBM stories through personal media. Found this nice picture.
You might have to lean in for us
Okay.
to hear you.
Let me just double check real quick to make sure. Yeah, is it full volume? Okay, so quote from Malala. I did not read. I used to do this every day when I was teaching online. Okay, so Malala said, when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful, end quote. So the point of my presentation is you guys figuring out how you want to make your own voices powerful or how you want to support others making their voices powerful so people can learn more about IBM. So I'm just starting out with an example involving myself. So I had a rare foot condition from 2021. I still have it, but I went to the Mayo Pain Rehab Center in 2024, and they used like understanding of neuroplasticity to help you turn off chronic pain, because all the research shows that chronic pain is coming from your brain and acute pain comes from your tissue. So I learned how to turn down my pain. I found out there was actual damage to one of my feet, but it doesn't give me any problems. But if it does hurt a little bit, I know it's not chronic pain, it's acute pain. Anyway, it's a 3-week program, and it just really made my life so much better. still using the things I learned there. Because basically they're trying to, through everything, it's very holistic, you know, from yoga to meditation to group therapy to PT to occupational therapy, talking with pain psychologists who know about all this. And when people are skeptical, I say, here's why they know that this works. Phantom limb syndrome. This is how they know that chronic pain is coming from people's brains, because people who are amputees feel pain in limbs that are not there anymore. They didn't do the mirror thing with me, but they did do these like flashcards where I was supposed to see what direction the feet were going. They were really hard. Anyway, but it was fantastic. And so I've kept up with them, you know, and I'm now out hiking and stuff. And I went on a trek through, I drove from Fort Worth, Texas to San Francisco, California by way of Arizona, and saw lots and lots of national parks on the way. I'd never been to Zion and I'd never been to Bryce. So the picture that is my foot pain, the foot pain was so bad, shoes were unthinkable. I did not wear socks for 3 years, probably more than 3 years. And I was always kicking my feet, my shoes off. I found these like really bad shoes according to the podiatrist in Mayo, so I won't even mention them. Anyway, so I put this in my Christmas letter that one of my professors from when I got my master's at University of Maryland got, and another person who was a journalist in DC for eons, like 50 years. She was a health reporter, but now that she's retired, she's still doing health reporting. And so she decided to do a story on me. And then she got the AARP Brain Health website interested in it. And so an AARP is like the best, the best place you could ever have anything placed, because millions and millions of people get that content there. We always joke back in the old print days that AARP magazine was always the #1 magazine in America, because everyone is forced into a subscription. But also they have really talented writers there too, because they're trying to get all that information to everyone, not just things you need to know as somebody over 55. You know, they have a lot of health stuff, and they have this very highly regarded brain health website. So the editor was very interested, and they ran this story. And so I posted on my Facebook page where I post everything. People like to follow my travels. And excuse me. And I said, I'm excited for you all to read about my experiences retraining my brain at the Mayo Clinic to get rid of my chronic foot pain. So only 3 of those pictures are mine. That is not my foot. I do not use 2 walking sticks when I hike. I use only one that is called the Gandalf stick, because I learned about this exercise that I'm supposed to do with one of those hiking sticks. So I have 3 now, one that's a travel Gandalf stick. Anyway, but I made a conscious decision, you know, even though I was very miserable for 3 years, my feet were horrible and I was not in a good place. You know, when I finally had some hope, I said, even if I can't get better, at least I can tell people about this condition that is really painful, because your feet feel like they're on fire and they turn bright red, and it gets worse if you walk or carry anything. And I was telling someone about this the other day, and the patients group tells you all the wrong things. In fact, I've reached out, but didn't hear back. Because what I learned at the Mayo Clinic was that you've still got to try to do what you can do, because it's the brain-body connection. If you're just laying about and not doing anything, we're not allowed to talk about our pain there. That's a pain behavior. So you start trying to look at it. I just decided I'm going to look for things that I can still do, but make people aware that, I still have pain in my feet, especially my left foot, because of the acute stuff happening. But moving forward with whatever, and so many people reached out to me and, asked me about different aspects of the program. The program is now, it's 3 weeks. It's not inpatient, but you have to live in Rochester for 3 weeks. I think there's also a pain rehab center at their Jacksonville, Florida, and their Tucson, Arizona locations. But Rochester is the place where the only doctor in the North and South America that knows about this rare foot thing is there. So this rare foot thing is not in medical textbooks. So that really added to my kind of upset about my foot pain, was that no doctors knew what to do. They did all these vascular tests. It's a neurovascular, because it's affecting the nerves and the veins. That's why your feet turn red. But anyway, when I found out that this Dr. Davis, was at Mayo and has this erythromyalgia is the name of my condition, had this clinic. So I got appointment with him in February of 2024. And while I was there, I'd already been doing a bunch of reading on different things, and I'd already tried things he was going to suggest. And so I said, and he started talking about the pain rehab at the beginning when I said, tried that. And then my last meeting with him after a couple of days of tests, he said, I just came in and said, I want to do the pain rehab center. He's like, that's great, because I think it will really help. And he told me this story about one of his erythromyalgia patients. They don't call it EM, which is other places they call it. Anyway, and this guy was a college student who had the burning feet thing so bad that he was then using a wheelchair because his feet were like, he couldn't walk on them. They were so painful every second of the day. And because he had to use a wheelchair full time, he had to drop out of college because things weren't accessible at his college. So he went there, and things work really well if you're younger too. So especially retraining your brain is really an easy thing, I think, when you're younger. So he went there, spent 3 weeks, walked out of there without any foot pain. So it really is, I'm like, this is evangelical stuff. But people I met in the program, one that has become a friend that lives outside of Chicago, not far from you, Sherry. And when I first entered the room, and it's a gradual kind of program, so it's rolling admissions. So my first day, I might be the last day of somebody, might be the first week of somebody else, it might be the second week for somebody else. Anyway, Patty, her name is, she said, here's what advice I'm giving everyone that starts. Say yes to anything they want you to do. And so Patty arrived in a mobility scooter, was on a walker by the time I got there, and only needed a cane when she left. And she has more things than just, and she got off the, also, I wasn't taking any painkillers, but I stopped all Tylenol. But they also have a medical director who will help people get off of, medically prescribed painkillers. And the other thing that I learned, and I was very happy from the first day on, even though my feet were having issues still, because it was the first day, because I saw what other people were having to cope with. And they had multiple things. I have multiple things, but, they still had people that were not nice in their house and they're trying to cope with this stuff. Anyway, so I think what I learned there, and I'd already been a print journalist, so I really had no problem talking about what happened to me there and what was going on. But it was really much easier to talk about it when I could post some positive things, and so anyway, that my story. I'm very happy to tell it and put it out there on social media. So here's some other things about me.
So Beth, I'm gonna interrupt
Okay.
just for a minute.
Okay.
I think not interrupt. So as you're going through your story, there are a lot of similarities, as some of us know here, to IBM with the problem you have. So here we are all patients, you are journalists with the specialists, and what is the easiest way for us to talk about our story? We go through the same thing. So what is the easiest way for us to do it to get our voice out there?
Social media, blogging.
Okay.
I recommend Instagram is probably the best one these days. There's even WhatsApp community groups. I post a lot on Facebook just because I've been on it a long time, and I don't recommend Twitter. It's not reliable. Nothing's verified. It's a brawl over there. But Instagram and YouTube are really good. TikTok has its own stuff. So here's why I think you guys should get involved with social media. And, it's, as this writer says, it's a powerful channel for self-expression. So any images or content from the slides that's not from me, if you go, and Nancy can send this all to you, if you go into the notes part at the bottom of the PowerPoint slide, it will have a link to the article. So this was in Psychology Today in 2022. And she was looking at how social media content was actually helping people with different chronic illnesses. She says it can increase agency, mitigate shame, and build community. And also you have control over your self-representation. And I'll give you some tools at the end of this about what you guys can do to support each other and building posts and things like that. Because not everybody wants to get involved with social media, but it actually is kind of our generation. I don't know if there's young people in the group, but probably the most active on Facebook now is over 60.
So what do you think is the best way for us? How do we differentiate ourselves with our stories?
Right.
What do we say on Facebook, and how do we get an answer? And by the way, if you need just on here today as we're going, one of the Facebook groups the administrator for one of the Facebook groups with myositis is on here. So
Okay.
if you have any questions, I'm sure she can also answer those or help, or the two of you can go back and forth.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give some examples of how people are handling putting themselves out there. This is actually a college student or a university student in England who has POTS. She faints a lot. POTS is very dangerous because the blood pressure drops unexpectedly multiple times during the day. And she was having trouble getting doctors to understand that she had it. And so she was an art student. She's like, I'm gonna put this in my art. I mean, all these different ways of educating people, humor, art, words, whatever works, use it. But a lot of people with invisible disabilities or chronic illnesses that aren't apparent get this, oh, but you don't look sick. Yeah, what does sick look like? People have these weird things in their brain about, and also they want to kind of argue with you. They don't, if they're your friend or family member, they don't want you to be sick or have a disability. So they're going to be like, but yesterday you were doing great. That's because that's why the next day you're not doing great, because you put it all out there the next day. So this is a great article. I think she's part of the rheumatoid arthritis, maybe. I forget what she did. Anyway, she came up with 12 reasons, but she has 13. So anyway, but I really liked her list because you can choose one of them. Like number 7, to explain why I'm missing an action and to set boundaries. So by posting on social media, her friends and family that live farther away can find out, oh, like I had to only do this one activity today because, whatever was flaring or something. So people start understanding that it's not you rejecting them, it's that it's not a good day for you to do whatever the activity that somebody else wants you to do is. And I like number 10, to keep a record of my health journey, because I feel like I'm doing that too, because you can easily search and go back to posts that you made. And I really like number 12 too, to stop ableism and bullying, because but you don't look sick is kind of the first sentence of somebody starting and bullying you, and saying, oh no, just do this, mind over matter, all kinds of BS. And I think she just like gives a nice, she's like asking people to kind of be more understanding, be empathetic. And also she finds other people with her experiences too. And so I wanted you all to be aware of something called spoon theory. Have they talked about it? How many people have heard of spoon theory? Anybody? So a person with a chronic illness, disability, non-apparent disability came up with spoon theory. It's somebody, they call themselves spoonies, someone with a chronic medical condition, which is either a physical or mental health condition that limits how much energy they have each day to do daily tasks like work, school, errands, showering, dressing, cooking. Each activity uses up spoons, aka energy. So spoonies must choose their daily activities carefully. And this is like my new favorite meme. Like this is from somebody with a chronic illness. They posted on Instagram. Like it's basically an illustration of being a spoonie. Like one day they were feeling fine, and so they did a bunch of stuff, and then that meant the next day they were feeling that great. Me, my organs, my joints, my immune system, finding out we have plans 2 days in a row. So spoonies also assign spoons to the future too, and so they know they need to rest up before they use a spoon the next day. They don't want to use up all their spoons for the week on one day. So anyway, I think it's a really great concept that people can relate to, even people without a chronic illness. Really, like they're exhausted, their son got married over the weekend, and so give them a break for about a month and don't bother them. Even if they don't have a chronic illness, they've been in this like bubble of preparing stuff. So I think making people aware that it's not that you're a bad friend, it's that you need to be very aware of how much energy you're using up for different activities. And
So
sorry.
I think the spoon theory, can we just go back to spoon theory for a minute?
Sure.
How do you feel that we use spoon theory with our media?
Yeah, I mean, you could do something. would say try to stay away from doom and gloom, because it's we kind of live in an ableist society where everyone thinks disabilities or chronic illnesses are like whole tragedies. And they're not. People have, minutes, hours, or even years of their life that they do not feel that this is a tragedy. One of the most important disability rights activists in America died on Saturday, and she was getting she had muscular dystrophy or spinal muscular atrophy, and she was getting more and more disabled. But she wrote all these essays, her name was Alice Wong, about how much better her life was, even though she was getting more and more disabled. She had, from being just a wheelchair user, then she had to have a permanent BiPAP that she wore all the time. And then she had to have a tracheotomy, so then she couldn't speak verbally anymore. But she used iPad and stuff to talk. And, she was still she won a MacArthur Genius Grant because she was really using social media to kind of make everyone understand that she visited the White House and met President Obama via robot. So I think that was the anniversary of the
That was
ADA.
good.
Anyway, so I think there's all these role models out there, and you can just like look and see what other people are doing. But I really think that this kind of humor really gets people's attention, and it kind of brings them out of the tragedy brain space, because they're like, people are laughing. Like, yeah, but the person, if you read between the lines of this meme, that person with whatever chronic illness or disability they have had a full day the day before, and they're just saying they used up all their spoons on that day, and then the next day they need to be not using any spoons at all. And so back to your question, like, if Sherry goes to a baseball game, then I don't know if you're a baseball fan, Sherry, or not. I can't remember.
So, yeah, no. I think we need to be positive and we need to talk about it.
Right.
So, yeah, are you, right, yeah, going on.
So, trying to drag this thing out there. Trying to look at the chat.
What if we're not that comfortable talking about it?
Right. That is what I can't look at the chat while I'm doing this. That's why I say you could have a balanced post, like, I made it to Dallas. Yay, I'm getting to see all my friends in person at MyoCon. And, like, you made it. Yeah, some stuff that was not fun happened before that, but you made it. I got to see Kaylee because she came too. So, that is a good post, and it's a positive post, and also shows other people that your priority is making sure that people are learning and researching about your condition. So there's a way to put a positive spin on even the worst stuff, or they just make it a funny meme.
So what do you think would be if you had an elevator speech for us
Right.
with our story? What would that elevator speech be?
First, I'm going to emphasize in a second, do more pictures and photos. So several of you at MyoCon are riding an actual elevator, because that needs to be in a location that has an elevator. And you just take a selfie with the three of you saying, we're very grateful to be together at MyoCon. And, then you could even post a link, learn more about IBM. We're part of an IBM women's group. It's just a fun selfie with a couple of people from the conference in an elevator. And you could even say something about the elevator, you know, like, because some of us have to use mobility equipment. We're definitely very glad that this is a hotel conference center that has plenty of elevators. And that's it. Like, and you just come think, they don't have to be like some kind of dissertation. Just basically the fun stuff that you would normally post with information about IBM. Okay, let me move forward a little bit for some examples. Okay, so this was back when Twitter was a good social media. So this woman, I think she's in England. And so she posted these when they were doing a hashtag invisibly disabled looks like. And so she's an ambulatory wheelchair user. So she has two pictures of her, one where she's standing and one where she's sitting in her wheelchair. And I kind of like, she must be very knowledgeable about photography. I like that she mirrored herself in the color scheme even. You know, she's like standing in the backyard with a blue shirt and a yellow skirt, and she's sitting in her wheelchair with a yellow top and blue shorts. Even something like that, it ties those two pictures together. And she's using a hashtag. We can talk about what kind of hashtags you guys might want to come up with when you start posting. But, and also she's young. I think that for young people with disabilities and chronic illnesses, it's even rougher for us older folk, because people, I mean, I know multiple people come up and harass them at grocery stores because they're 20 something using the electric cart to grocery shop. And I'll give you a link to a woman named Annie Segara who has done a bunch of YouTube videos about, people just like, they bully you, and like people come up and yell, get out of that. That's for older people, not for you. You know, she'd saved up all her spoon for that day to walk into the, she didn't have a wheelchair yet, but she knew that they had mobility scooters she could use for shopping. So she walked from the parking lot. That was that day's walking done. And
Beth, does it help to either share other people's posts or comment on other people's posts, or does it need to be original?
I think commenting is important too, especially when some of y'all start posting, commenting on each other's posts, and saying, oh, great point. Yeah, that happened to me when I was, you know, trying to figure out whether I needed something to help me get out of chairs or something. You don't even have to use medical equipment names if you don't, but I think just telling people that you're not jumping up out of, you know, like, so people are more aware. And like the disabled people who are leveraging YouTube, basically they just want people to understand that this is their life, you know, like, and people born with their disabilities usually do not want to get rid of them, you know, and they're accomplished people, you know, they're influencers, musicians, you know, doing all kinds of things. And, but the human brain wants to reduce everybody to a piece of medical equipment or the name of their chronic illness or disability. That's why I say stay away from some of the medically ways of presenting stuff. Like, I forget her name, but she's I think a beauty influencer too. So, you know, like there's a guy named Tommy Edison. He has hilarious videos. He's blind and he does reviews of movies. And he hates all those shoot 'em up movies because there's no dialogue for him to follow. So, but he's like hilarious. And then he started posting ridiculous comments that he would get. And he would just like laugh at them. It's really, he won like a Webby Award or something. He was really early using the internet.
That
or
sounds,
comedy.
yeah, those sound great. So I have a question, Beth. We're talking an awful lot about posting, and I want to see if Rhonda Rogers is still around. Rhonda, are you on coffee number one
I
or
am
two?
happy to report I am still around, Nancy.
So Beth, I wanted to bring Rhonda in as part of this. Rhonda, as a woman with IBM, also leads and started the Myositis Warriors Facebook group, which is excellent for all of that. So, as you are talking about some of these, my question and giving us some ideas on what to post in there, my question to Rhonda, and the two of you can talk, is Rhonda, what kind of posts do you see that get the most response and the most comments?
Well, it all depends, Nancy. You never really know what is going to resonate with the community. I will give you a wonderful example that just this week, as many of you know, myositis Joe Sanchez has undergone quadruple bypass surgery. So I was in contact with his wife because Joe posts every day on Myositis Warrior, something usually that is uplifting and funny and informative and activist oriented. And it is a public website. I mean, it is a public Facebook group. So people will see this, and people you know will see any posts on it. But Joe was undergoing surgery, and I was posting updates. And then finally, yesterday, he felt well enough to post his own update. We have gotten over 800 likes, comments. It has just been wonderful. People who have been following Joe's journey. And this is not myositis related, but it is related in the fact that, hey, you also may need to look after your heart. Hey, you may also have IBM and need a bypass surgery. So they've been following the journey, and it has been heartwarming to see how many people care about Joe, follow Joe, just wish him well. But that's sort of, not exactly our core mission, and yet it is. And it has attracted people to the site as well. Now, I don't recommend people go out and have bypass surgery just to get people to follow you. That's not really our mission at all. But I mean, there are times when we post about a clinical trial or CAR T cell therapy that get a lot of interest. People want to learn more. Sometimes it's a humorous post. We try and mix it up. I started that group coming from a very dark, down place in my life because I just wanted people to know about myositis. And I wanted people to be able to say the word. As a rare disease, all of you know the challenge that nobody knows what the heck you're talking about when you tell them you have IBM. My own sister thought I was talking about computers. And this is after having the disease for 10 years when I started talking about my IBM. And let me tell you, I let my sisters have it. So, I mean, it's sort of an organic site. I have, admin control over posts.
Right.
I encourage people to let me know when they think posts are inappropriate. And believe me, Now that we have well over 7,000 users, there are many inappropriate comments. But I keep an eye on it and try to moderate as best I can. There's so many things that are of interest to us.
Right.
You know, everything from what do you eat if you have dysphagia? How do I get up off of a toilet that I find is truly not accessible at all? How do I cope over the holidays? Everybody's worried about that. You know, with people who haven't seen me maybe for 3 or 4 years, and now I can barely walk. Um, as I said, it's a public forum. It may not be for you. You may not be ready to share your story, but I think some people have been encouraged. And since I was able to attend Myocon this year, there were people that come up to me that say, "Hey, I found out about Myocon through your site," or "Hey, you know, you encouraged me to learn more about my rare disease." You know, it's encouraging to me and well worth the work that I do put into it.
And I think people could even send people from your personal Facebook page to the Warriors page.
Myositis Warriors. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I think that's a nice little cross-pollination that you can do, especially on Facebook. So maybe people don't really know what you're talking about, even if you're doing a post about yourself, but you're sending them to more resources. And you know, or even if it's just some funny, you could, like you were asking Sherry, you could just something really funny that you thought was really funny on the Warriors page, share it on your Facebook page, you know?
Yeah.
And
And I think there is a lot of that. I think people, you know, I started this, I guess, 6 years ago. And as I said, I've kind of learned along the way. You do get some, you know, metrics from Facebook about what resonates with people. And sometimes sometimes I pay attention to that. Most of the time, I do not. I let people post what they need help with, what they find interesting. And I also do let people post anonymously because then I know they are not ready to share their story, but they need advice. Sometimes they just need to be heard and listened to. And, you know, I do find social media to be the wild, wild west. I mean, it's kind of crazy, you know, but I've tried to harness it the best I can for the benefit of the entire myositis community. It is not limited to people with IBM. We have a lot of DN people, a lot of, you know, TN people, ASS, you know, ILD, you know, you name it. I'm very happy that they find, you know, the site.
Right.
So I hope that answers your question, Nancy.
Yes, thank you. So
And-
Beth, we have just a couple more
okay, let me,
minutes.
the reason I have this
Do you want to
arthritis
give us
life
a
up,
brief? And Rhonda, thank you, thank you, thank
thanks,
you.
Rhonda. The reason I have this arthritis life up, you can go and watch her podcast, and it's about social media and chronic illness. These are just, that's Annie Segura, who like used Facebook post to explain she's not she's in bed because she needs to be in bed because of her different chronic illnesses, not because she wants to be in bed. She's the one that has the YouTube channel, and she's done a lot about ambulatory wheelchair users exist. And then during COVID, a lot of young disabled people leveraged TikTok. And this woman did not want to put her limb difference out there, but then she decided she was not going to ignore who she was. And so now she has 28,000 followers on TikTok. And people get to see, you know, her bionic arm too. So, and this is what you were just saying, Rhonda, too. You can reach so many people. So 73% of the US population is on social media, and they spend a little over 2 hours. Young people are still there. They just don't tell you they're there. Millions of women, millions of men. YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram are kind of the big three that have weathered the social media storm. So here's my next steps. Because what we talked about, Nancy, was potentially setting up a private Facebook group only for social media posts. So if you join, it means you want feedback about what you're writing. It means you want other people to look at what you're going to post. And I think that would be really cool because you can support each other, vet different things, you know, like see, I don't think people understand that post, you know.
Right. And Beth, what we can do and what we're gonna do and maybe talk about it at another point is kind of do a subset of what Rhonda has. So, you know, as portion, just a more private area so that we can all get on that area if we're not in a meeting, communicate more amongst ourselves. And it's just us. And we can talk about things that are private for us. But that's something that we're still working on and hope we might be able to get in the near future. So that's an idea. It's kind of similar to the open Facebook, but a little more tailored strictly to IBM and women.
Right. And also just
Thank you.
having a private place to, you know, talk about posts or
Right.
what you think will
Right.
work. I love this meme I found. I just need 8 to 12 hours of alone time in the mornings, and then I'm ready to recharge and ready to tackle the day. Like, people are going to remember that more than anything on the planet. And you could figure out how to create things, you know, that are funny and just say, you know, some people would just put, this is what IBM is like. I just need 8
Right.
to 12 hours
Right,
alone
right,
time to
right,
create
right,
the day.
right. Thank you.
You know,
Yeah,
so
no,
you can
that's
test
good.
out humor on each other and stuff too.
That's good.
So
Okay.
I'm here to be a resource. There's my email. Just email me anytime if you have questions.
And
There I'm
Beth,
at Zion Park, Zion National Park.
wow,
And there's my
that's
foot. There's
great.
my foot at Kolob Canyon.
That's great. So we want to thank you for doing this. I know it's a time constraint about you, but let's go back and ladies, let me take the screen over and say thank you to Beth and our questions and everybody who's here. We have a lot going on in the chat and thank Rachel and thank Linda and Paula and Muriel and everybody who was on today for talking a little bit more about our communication. We all know living with IBM is a full-time job in whatever we're doing, whether we're exercising, whether we're eating, whether we're socializing, whether we're resting for our next half a spoon, as we say. And please, I hope that we can all keep communicating a little bit better and we'll communicate with the stuff that we learned about today with all of TMA's websites for communication, with Rhonda's Myositis Warrior. You know, it's all for us. If these things weren't out there, people are not going to know about myositis and IBM. So thank you all for doing that. Our 2025 year is, as you all know, coming to a close. So I want to, on behalf of everybody that helped today and helped all year long, thank you, thank you, thank you. Wish you a very happy Turkey Day and very happy holidays. We will be back with you for our two-part swallowing symposium, which is coming together probably in March and April, hopefully with physicians and speech therapists from all over the world, reaching out to Dr. Alexanderson. Hopefully she will work in January or February to talk a little bit more about some exciting things that they are doing, the cutting edge research for IBM and exercise. And then as we talked again about our spoon theory, we have our fatigue, which Dr. Hoyle and, as Rachel says, Dr. B are going to talk about. So ladies, with that, we're going to talk about Maya Angelou's And Yet We Thrive. IBM places demands on us. We can't deny the impact of IBM, but we will continue to develop strategies to enhance our ability to thrive. To paraphrase Maya Angelou's statement, we are changed by what happens to us due to IBM, but we're deterred we won't be reduced by it. So a huge shout out to the Women with IBM team and everybody, any of the women with IBM and others. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We'll see you in 2026. So have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.